In 1320, a Venetian shipyard built a warship in one day, but the Republic erased how they did it, and the reason why is stranger than the ship itself. You were never told about the Arsenale di Venezia. Not really. Maybe a footnote. A shipyard, they'd say. Old Venice built boats there. That's it. That's all they give you. Here's what they leave out. By the 1300s, the arsenal covered 60 acres, walled off, guarded. Thousands of workers, the arsenalotti, moving through it like parts of a machine. Not a shipyard, a factory. The first true assembly line in human history, 300 years before anyone credits one existing. Venice needed galleys fast and constantly because Venice ran an empire on water and empires bleed ships. So they built a system, a closed system. One that could turn out a fully rigged, fully armed war galley in under 24 hours. That number sounds impossible. It's documented. Foreign ambassadors watched it happen and wrote home in disbelief. Here's the first revelation, and it's the one that should stop you cold. The arsenal didn't build ships from keel to finish, one at a time, the way every other shipyard on Earth did it. They prefabricated the pieces. Hulls moved down a canal on a track system. Workers stood at fixed stations along the water. As the hull passed each one, a component got fitted through a window, timed to the second. Rigging here. Oars there, weapons at the next station. The hull never stopped moving. When it reached the far end of the canal, it was a warship, loaded, armed, ready to fight. King Henry III of France toured the arsenal in 1574 and watched them assemble a galley start to finish during the length of a single banquet. He didn't believe what he was looking at. Neither should you. And it gets stranger. Because the arsenal wasn't just fast, it was standardized, centuries before standardization was supposed to exist anywhere. Every part interchangeable, every oar the same length, every rudder fitting the same mounting. If a galley took damage at sea in open water off some hostile coast, the crew could swap parts from spare stock and keep fighting. No other navy on the planet could do that, not for another 400 years. The arsenal even ran something close to an inventory system, numbered storerooms, cataloged supplies, records of every plank and nail. Bureaucracy, centuries ahead of its time, built entirely to keep war machines moving. But here's what doesn't add up. If the arsenal really industrialized shipbuilding this early, genuinely invented the assembly line 300 years before Britain gets the credit for it, why does almost nobody outside naval history know it existed? Why does the history you were handed skip straight from Rome to the Industrial Revolution, like 1200 years just sat empty? That's not an accident of teaching. That's a gap. And gaps like that usually get dug on purpose. The buried why starts with the workers themselves. The arsenalotti weren't ordinary laborers. They were a caste, sworn to secrecy for life, forbidden from leaving Venice without permission, forbidden from discussing techniques with outsiders on pain of imprisonment or worse. The Council of Ten, Venice's secret police, treated arsenal methods as state secrets on the level of military codes, because that's exactly what they were. Venice's entire empire, its trade routes, its colonies, its stranglehold on the Mediterranean depended on outproducing every rival navy on Earth. The moment another power learned how the arsenal actually worked, Venice's advantage disappeared. So the knowledge was sealed, deliberately, not lost to time, buried by policy. And it worked so well that when Venice finally declined, centuries later, the methods didn't spread outward to the rest of Europe. They just died inside the walls with the men who'd sworn never to speak of them. History remembers the ships. It was built to forget the system. Think about what that means for everything else you've been taught about progress. You were told the assembly line was Henry Ford's idea. You were told mass production started in the 1900s, a clean, sudden leap forward. But Venice ran a version of it in 1320, then locked it in a vault made of oaths and executions, and let the world assume it never happened. If one of the most consequential ideas in industrial history can vanish that completely on purpose, protected by a state willing to silence its own citizens, what else got sealed away the same way? What other sudden breakthroughs you were taught to admire were really just rediscoveries? So ask yourself this. The arsenal's secrets died with the men sworn to keep them, but institutions that guard secrets that ruthlessly rarely stop at one. What else did Venice bury, and did it all go down with the empire? Or is some of it still sitting in an archive nobody's been allowed to open?